All right. Well, I have with me tonight Kira Sanoja. And how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
All right. And so we met on Twitter, what, yesterday?
Like 2 days ago, maybe.
Well, very cool. Very cool. So this is just kind of a spur of the moment. We're going to do a live show and record a podcast and kind of talk about your photography background and a project that you are working on and trying to get crowdsourced on Indiegogo.
That
Is
is
that
correct.
all right? All right. Well, let's just kind of hear your story. Let's talk a little bit about your photography and your background and stuff like that.
Well, it comes from all over the place. My story to start, I was a very young mom. I always had big dreams, big goals. My mind was always full of, I guess, enchantment, whimsy, all of that kind of stuff. I've loved nature since the time I could walk. I was always barefoot in the ground. I was constantly, I even ate dirt as a kid. It was kind of crazy. But um, as I kind of got into my teens, I realized that I really had a love for photography. I loved just anything artistic. And it wasn't until about 10 years ago that I really was like, okay, I have a true passion for this. I love doing this. I love it. I would see something and I would say, I want to recreate this, or I'd see this thought in my head or a vision or even a dream. And I'd say, oh my gosh, that would be just amazing if I could recreate that. But I didn't really have the means of doing it. And about 5 years ago, my mom helped me buy my first camera. And and it just kind of went from there. I started with families and portraits, and I still do all of that. I still do families, portraits, babies, maternity, all of that kind of stuff. Um, but my true passion is in the art of photography. I love creation. I love um, kind of the world unknown. I love that whole aspect.
Yeah, I was gonna. As soon as I saw your site and some of the stuff you did, like it, I was inspired. Like it was just so
Thank you.
creative and so cool, and just seeing some of these like just these fantasy scenes kind of brought to life. I thought it was awesome.
Thank you so much. A little bit about that, just to kind of have a backstory about the Enchanted project. About 10 years ago, my mom bought this illustration by an artist, Nina Thomas. She does all kinds of fairy art, enchanted art, just all of that kind of stuff. And she also writes books. She's an author with her husband, and she just does some amazing stuff. My mom bought this illustration, and before I was even really big on the business aspect of photography, I would look at that image in her house and I would just say, oh my gosh, I just love that. I want to like recreate that in real life. Like, what could I do to do that? When we moved into our house in Las Vegas about 3 years ago, my mom brought it to me as a housewarming gift, and I just like I kind of lost it. I was so happy to have that, and I always stared at it and continued to like, what could I do to do this? So I started the project about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and it wasn't until April that I finally talked with Nene Thomas. I think that's how she pronounces her name. I talked with her. I asked her. I got her permission to recreate that image, and she gave me the permission, and I did it, and the outcome was really awesome. I loved it. She loved it. She shared it, and that's where everything went a little bit more viral, and I'm just so grateful for that opportunity. So that's where this whole Enchanted came out, is really through that image. And both of my parents are very artistic. My dad always loved loved art and enchantment and all that kind of stuff, in the whimsical fashion, not the sorcery fashion, I guess you could say. But anyways, I've grown up with it. Grandma's an artist, grandpa's an artist, parents. I loved it.
Yeah, and how long have you been just doing photography in general? Like what?
Photography in general has been, I'm literally 29 today, and
Well, happy birthday.
thank you. Um, but I think I originally, it was a high school class. I was probably about 16 when I first picked up first interchangeable lens camera, and just started photographing. I had my son when I was 15, and so I was always photographing him. I loved that. I loved being at a school where I was able to I was able to grow and progress like that. And so when my son was probably just a couple months old, actually, no, he wasn't even a couple months old. He was a couple weeks old. My husband bought me my first digital SLR camera. So my son is 13 now. I bought my first Rebel 2000 back, 13 years ago, and I started from there, went digital, and kind of went between the whole SLR and digital, and then kind of merged the two. So it's really been a good 13 years of really, really practicing and 5 years in business so far.
I see. And I've been looking at your website and stuff. Looks like you do like weddings, portraits, that kind of stuff. How have you marketed yourself? How long have you been doing the weddings and stuff?
Weddings I have been doing almost for the full 5 years. Started off more of for family and friends here and there. And then I got working with a dear friend of mine in the business. I was kind of helping her out during a rough pregnancy, and took over a lot of weddings from there. And I don't know, good 100 or 200 weddings or something since then. And then just families. And I love relationships. I really, really have a love for people and humanity. And so every one of my clients is a return client. So it's like, I just Facebook, social media. I've really only joined the whole Instagram crowd and Twitter crowd about a year ago or less, really. And but I think my biggest marketing tool has been to connect with people and build friendships, and just connect with people on Facebook, social media, blogs. And I love to tell stories through pictures. Even in my wedding and portrait photography business, I like the storytelling aspect of pictures. I like people to like feel emotions just radiating off of the picture. That's what I love about everything.
That's very cool. 100 to 200 weddings in 5 years. How did you? Was it mostly word of mouth?
I do have to say, sorry, I'm getting some sort of little feed coming up.
I just tweeted at you. That's what
you just tweeted. Nice. Sorry, it came up on my phone. I forgot I was going to put my phone in airplane mode so I wouldn't get anything coming in. I owe that to my dear friend that was in photography. I don't know whether they want me to mention names or anything like that, but during her rough pregnancy, I took over a good portion of her weddings, and so that kind of I dove in, not even touching the water hardly, and then from there I just kind of learned that I really did love it. I love weddings. I love every aspect of photography as it is, but in 2013 I did Bridal Spectacular here in Las Vegas. So I did that January and August, and then this year I've done January, and our August show is coming up again. So that's been a big portion of my business as well. So I owe tons of that in my experience to this friend of mine. Otherwise I probably would have still been plugging along. And so I got a lot of experience from her, and really finding out what I loved, which, like I said, I love all kinds of photography, but I've learned that my true passion and what my niche is that, and is the enchanted stuff, is the art of photography, fashion photography. Storytelling.
I see. Well, I love that you've basically created a business for yourself, but you're just continuing on. You're able to move forward with the things that you're real passionate about, but still have the portraits just kind of in your back pocket when you need it.
Right. That's been it's been a big tennis match going on in my head, because I'm a mom of 3 kids. I'm a wife of a husband that I've been with, and he's been with me through everything for the past 13 years and or 14 years, and um, so there's a lot going on, a lot on my plate. So trying to kind of balance between something that I love to do, portraits and weddings, and something that I feel like I'm being called to do. And so it's kind of that balancing act of being called to do is not bringing in money. It's making me lose money at this point. Um, Loving to do brings me money. So I've kind of, it's been a balancing act for sure. And we'll just see where everything goes. I still plan on keeping portrait and families, and obviously that's the same thing, but weddings and everything in 2015. I probably will change up my business model, for sure, quite a bit, just because I can't handle the workload and starting to do galleries and art shows and stuff like that. I just can't go there. I've got to restructure.
I see. So, have you begun the process of getting into galleries then?
I really have. We have this big thing that happens here in Las Vegas every first Friday of every month. It's called First Friday. Nice title. It's a huge, huge art scene. It's actually one of the biggest in the West Coast. Happens from 5 to 11 every first Friday. This upcoming Friday, 2 days from now, is kind of their big yearly event. They do something different. They kind of come up with a theme, and they have submissions. And so I did submit my work to them, and it was accepted into their theme, into what they're doing. So I'll have a 20 by 20 space there at First Friday where I'm actually going to take one of my enchanted scenes. If you're on my website or on my blog, it's called The Enchanted Discovery, and I'm actually recreating that scene live. So I have quite a few people helping me, trees and the snow, which obviously in Vegas can't be real snow, but just I'll have a live model. I'll have my door. She'll be in the dress. It'll just kind of be this winter wonderland scene right there in the middle of the Vegas Strip, pretty much. So, with Casino Center Boulevard, which is in the Arts District.
That's I hope you document that well, because that would
I
be really cool to see.
I hope so. I think it'll be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of people coming through there, so it's just kind of the start. I'm going to be doing an art show here September 5th through September 7th, at our big place, Cashman Center as well. Going to be working with the Arts District quite a bit with some different things. I think that there's some good things in the works with them.
I see. So, have you gone through and uh, do you have a bunch of your work on canvases and that kind of stuff? Like, was the price of admission pretty steep?
Well, that's where my campaign comes in. That's where this
Oh,
Indiegogo campaign comes in, because really putting everything on canvas and metal prints and what I've decided to do with them is going to be pretty pricey. So I've been overwhelmed with. I mean, there's been a lot of contributors, but the average contribution has been quite large. So I'm just very, very grateful for people that have, they really, they're really supporting it. So I'm excited to be able to, kind of finish off this Indiegogo thing and get my actual tangible gallery together. That way I can take things around. Yeah, I've worked with a framing specialist, which is going to be a lot of fun. I love the design of custom frames as well, and kind of seeing the whole picture together. I love the metal frames. I love canvases, and then of course I'm going to just do solo prints for people as well. And we're going to do a calendar. That's a huge, huge part. 2015 calendar. And that'll be kind of for the everybody. Not everyone wants one of these pictures on their wall, which I totally understand, but having a calendar up, is something I think people could really, connect with.
okay. So this was great. That was a great segue right into this. So let's I kind of want to just really break this thing down. So basically you are you've been doing this enchanted stuff for a while, right? I've seen some of the photos and stuff,
Mhm. Mhm.
but now you're wanting to basically take it to the next level where you're going to
Yes.
start selling fine art, basically.
Right.
And so you have set up this Indiegogo as a way to basically kickstart, no
Yeah.
pun intended, um, this process.
Right. Right.
So where did that idea come from?
Um, it came from many sources throughout the year telling me that I needed to do it. Like I said, I mean, I have other responsibilities that my portrait business and that income need to go towards. I obviously have responsibilities. I'm an adult. I'm a parent. You know, there's things that I need to take care of, and so I could have just opened this up for sale. You know, last year when I started, I had a couple people inquiring and asking about art sales, and I just kind of said I'm not ready. There was quite a few people asking, and I kept just having that like I'm just not ready yet. I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. And so it was just really I wanted the whole project to I wanted people to see what the whole project was about, that it's not just about a pretty picture, that it's about my life, it's about stories, it's about things that have happened in my life, it's about fears that I have, it's about tough times that I've gone through, and it's all put together in these things. And I think that if I would have opened it up right away and immediately, I'm not sure that everyone would have seen that. So I waited for a bit. My ultimate goal would be to do a fine art coffee table book that retold those, that tell those stories, that show never before seen pictures, show the process of what it took to get there. So sorry, I totally probably went like way off topic right there, but
No, that's no problem at all. So I'm guessing initially you got eyes on some of this work just through your blog.
yeah, just through the blog and Facebook, and I really built it up from the beginning. I make sure to kind of like, you know, throw the throw the hook in and reel people in just so they know they're waiting for it. They know what date it's going to come up, and little by little, I'm kind of counting down. I keep everything pretty secretive until the day comes, so most people don't know unless they're the model or my makeup artist, or someone who happens to get a little like glimpse at something or whatever. No one really knows, and so it's a little bit of a mystery until it comes out. And so I think that that's been a fun part of it, is that I'm not very open about it until the day of, and then I'm all open about it. And I don't release a whole lot. I release only one or two depending on the story, sometimes three, because I've I've tried to explain it as, if someone's painting a landscape or painting a house or painting a portrait, you don't see different angles of Monet. You don't see different angles of these different massive art pieces. You see one. And so that's kind of been my goal, is to have one vision, one idea, and bring that to fruition and like be done with it and move on. So yeah.
So that, I mean, this is great. You basically you got this stuff up on the blog, and then you had people saying you need to start selling these things, and
Right.
that's always a great indicator that okay, I need, especially when there's a um, more than just a couple people saying you,
Hmm.
you need to be doing this. I mean,
More than just my mom and dad.
yeah, exactly, more than those people that just are super biased, right? And I mean, this is true. This is true with businesses. Period. I mean, with starting a business. Period. When you've got multiple people, either you know, coming to you for a problem you can solve, or telling you, hey, you really need to be doing this. Like, and they're people you can trust, and they're not just mom and dad, like you
Right,
said.
right.
It's awesome that you're taking action and moving forward with this. So a couple months go by, like you said. I kind of just want to keep going on
Sure, sure.
on this process here. A couple
Keep
months go
keep
by.
redirecting me because I'm always all over the place. Just keep
No, it's
redirecting me.
okay. I will do that. I will do that. So do we fast forward a couple months and you've said, okay, I'm going to get this thing going on, see if I can get it crowdsourced.
Right, right. Okay, so back to Indiegogo, I guess. So I had a couple people talking to me about it. Actually, over the past few months, I've donated to some of my friends' campaigns, some families' campaigns, and really started researching what I liked, kind of what I was led to, what I was kind of leaning towards as far as what crowdfunding campaign to work off of. And I'm all about like serendipitous type of things. And my very first Enchanted project was called Enchanted Indigo. And I named that long before I even knew what Indiegogo was. And and so when I heard of Indiegogo, I was like, that's funny. I had that in the back of my head. Um, Plus, I knew that I didn't have a set amount that I needed. Some people are like, it's going to cost me X amount of dollars to do this. I just knew that, like, if I made X amount of dollars, awesome, I can work with it. Some of the other ones you have to hit your goal to be funded at all. And that terrified me a little bit. I believe in the project. I have faith in it, and there's a lot of supporters, and there has been a lot of supporters. But that's just what kind of led me to Indiegogo. So I did my research. I started, started getting on YouTube and just like making behind the scenes videos of my projects, just kind of in time lapse or whatever I could do. And that way I was kind of already into video mode. And then me and my husband and cousin and a couple people helped me put my video together. And that's where it went. I just sat down and started trying to make something like a promotional video that was going to be captivating, that was going to show every bit of the project and why I'm doing the project, and kind of sum it up into something that was like you could fit in your pocket, and that's really difficult. But that's where I went with it. I wanted to start with those calendars just because we're midway through this year, and like I said, not everyone's going to want a 20 by 30 of a face or a fairy, on their wall, but I think a lot of people will enjoy that calendar, just as I think that's where I'm going with the whole book in the future. So.
Okay, so you talked about YouTube a little bit. Did you use YouTube as a way to start getting more eyes on the project?
I tried. I'm not like the best marketer there is out there. I feel like I do everything I can. I used YouTube to, in fact, I don't even know. I use YouTube to be able to do my video. That's where I uploaded it to begin with. And so it really has had quite a few within this amount of time. It's had quite a few hits, which is great. I'm not like the best marketer out there. So within the past month, it's had 654 views. So I feel like, I'm probably 100 of them. My mom's probably 100 of them. But like, I'm sure there's quite a few, and I'm grateful because it's been shared so many times. I think it's definitely out there. I'm not sure everyone totally, they're like, ooh, a pretty picture. They don't fully understand what I'm trying to do with it, but yeah, I have been trying to use YouTube. I've wanted to dive into YouTube for quite a while, and I'm a photographer. I'm not a videographer, but I can get by, so.
Yeah. So how were people finding you on YouTube? Did you use certain keywords to help you show up into search
Um,
engines?
I sure hope so. I mean, I used as many photography, conceptual photography, enchanted photography, fairies, wings, tutorials, makeup artists. I used all of those things that have to do with everything, colors, just because people are very interested in the process. I think a lot of people without reading it have thought that it's done, you know, through Photoshop or through, you know, a CGI type of process. And so I like being able to share, this is actually how we did it. Yes, I fix color, I fix contrast, I make skin look like flawless, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But as far as the set and scene goes, we do everything in camera. So that's been a fun process of trying to get that documented so that people can see what we do and they can recreate it. I love inspiring other people. I want people to go, ooh, fire wings. I want to try fire wings this weekend, you know, or with discretion, be careful. But you know what I mean? Like, so, and how to just, I don't know, just how to be able to inspire people to do those things and to kind of think outside the box. I think it's scary. You don't want to, it's scary to be different. It's a little bit scary to go, what are people going to think of this? Are people going to like think it's weird? Are people going to, I don't know. It's a little bit scary, but I've kind of gotten past that and I don't care. I'm excited for people to see like what happens next. If I dream about something, I want to bring that dream to the camera.
I see. Have you ever read the book The War of Art?
The War of Art?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Not The Art of War. That's a
right.
totally different book.
Okay. Right. The War of Art.
Yeah, I've talked about it
it
on the show before, and it's the guy that wrote the Legend of Bagger Vance.
Okay.
Stephen Pressfield.
Okay.
And he talks about something called resistance, which you just described. Those things that become excuses for us
right.
not to take action.
Right.
And I love hearing that you just said, you know what, I don't care, and I need to get this. I want people to see the next step in this, and
right.
That's such a great attitude, and look at where you are now because of that, because you took that action and said, you know what, I'm not going to surrender to these excuses and let this resistance keep me from moving forward. So
right.
I want to give you props on that. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Especially when I feel like I really am I'm a very spiritual person. I'm a strong member of my church. So it's just interesting stepping out of the box a little bit and just seeing what people think, and the response has been really, really well. And so I don't know, would I have been different if people were like, what is she doing? That's weird. But no one has been that way. Everyone has been super supportive. Everyone's been so loving and just, and I know it. Like I said, I'm going to sound like a total crazy person right now, but I'll be laying there at night and all of a sudden I'll have this like crazy thought that, where did that come from? Never thought it before. Or driving in the car, and you know, one of the photo shoots, there was leaves flying out of the back of a truck, and I was like, that's weird. These are autumn leaves in the middle of summer, and it was like a season out of place, and I started playing off of that, going, seasons out of place, moving from one season to another, just kind of a flow of something. And so I use my surroundings to kind of build those things. And when I'm completely focused, I'm constantly dreaming, not just daydreaming, but dreaming in the nighttime of random things that I wouldn't have come up with myself. So I really feel like there are things that I need to bring to the world for someone.
Very cool. Very cool. So, you recorded some videos for Indiegogo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or for YouTube to start
right.
promoting your stuff on Indiegogo. And so what was that, just the process like getting on to Indiegogo? Is it just basically just you kind of...
It was very, very, very simple.
Okay.
The hardest part was making the video. I'm good in social situations, like in front of the camera, and right now it's fine because it's like we're interacting right now, but like in front of a camera that no one's interviewing me or talking to me, I really struggle. So it was like take 25, take 42, and I just I couldn't make it happen. It was driving me crazy. I'm like, I can talk. I don't know why this is happening. I think
Well, I
my
saw the
probably,
video, and
okay,
it looks great. It looked like you were a pro. So
okay, perfect. Let's just actually just delete what I just said. I was totally a pro at it.
just one take, just nailed it. Like no script, just
Yeah, no script. I
perfect.
totally didn't read a sheet of paper as I was scrolling through pictures. None of that happened. I was just used my memory anyways. So,
Excellent, excellent.
yeah, so it was really, really simple process. Besides making that video and then editing the video together to just have some sort of flow that I just didn't want people to lose interest. If I was talking for 5 minutes, I wanted them to at least be like staring at the pictures or seeing the process. So um, that was a difficult part, but it got together just fine. Um, and then getting up on YouTube, getting up on Indiegogo was great. I first opened it up to close family and friends, because really it's a little bit of that. Everyone's on the and they said this in a Indiegogo tutorial is everyone's out on the dance floor. Everyone wants to get on the dance floor, but if no one's on the dance floor, it's hard for that first person to jump on. And so I wanted the people that I knew really, really supported this, to see the project first, to show their support if they were able to financially. That way, when I opened it up to the public, people would say, "Ooh, people are already there. People are already donating." And so that was kind of a good tip. That was a good way to start it. I'm honestly not sure that I could have done anything differently.
So it sounds like basically there was like a soft launch for kind of friends and family.
Hmm.
It was still kind
Yeah,
of
for a couple
somewhat
days, about
private.
4 days.
Okay. And what about like what do they call them? The different goals or the different
The
levels of,
perks.
yeah. So
The perks.
talk about that process and coming up with those ideas. Was that kind of difficult, or did they kind of walk you through that also?
No, I mean, they let you know that you need to do something good that people are going to want, but we went to Canada the week I was launching everything. And so, or I was going to launch it to friends and family, and then just about right when we got home from Canada, I was going to finally open it up to the public. And so we were driving all over the place. My husband's ears were just probably burning off from how much I was trying to talk with him about pricing. And first of all, getting pricing together for what outside of Indiegogo, just outside of everything, what were my prices going to be once I opened everything up for sale? So what made sense for donations? And I went back and forth between, do I have a calendar, say the calendar's price is going to be $20. Do I make the donation of $15? Do they get a calendar because it's like they're getting the before rate?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was one way of thinking. And then the other way of thinking was, well, that's not really a donation. That's just a purchase. So it was kind of like, am I launching sales or am I looking for contributions? And so I ended up going the other way around, just going, okay, well, for a little bit more, you're going to get the calendar. So you're donating not a huge amount, you're donating a small amount to make a purchase. And so I battled back and forth between that one, like heaven knows how many times I went back and forth between that, and then deciding what each perk was going to be, and again going, well, how much is it going to be retail when I open it up for sale, and what's going to help me put my stuff together. I'm not just opening up for sale. I'm looking for contributions to put my gallery together. So that was, again, hubby helps me think like rationally. Sorry, hang on. You there? Okay, sorry.
No worries.
um, hubby helps me think rationally and kind of helps me, like, I don't know. I have so many, as you can tell, my mind goes in a million different directions all the time. So just keeping me on course, keeping me understanding what my own thoughts even are, and that's where we went. That's where we went from it. So I think that I've been really happy with where we went. I'm telling you, I'm just like overwhelmingly grateful for the amount of contributions. People have been really, really generous.
So I want to just backtrack a little bit on that.
Please do.
Basically, you decided instead of say, okay, the calendar's going to be $20.
So yeah,
I'm just using a
right,
random number, right?
absolutely, right,
So let's say it's gonna retail for $20.
right,
You decided to take a greater donation
right,
if somebody wants the calendar instead
right,
of just giving them like a pre-order price,
right.
which would be, um, I think that's awesome. I mean, I think that's brilliant because you're saying you're letting the people know, look, you're not just purchasing this, you're becoming a part
You're
of
becoming
this.
an investor. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. That's
It
great because
was.
my mind always goes to the lesser amount, right? I
Right.
mean, that's that if I was doing something like this myself, it would probably be more of the, okay, if I'm selling a book, I'll give it to you for $5 less versus
Right.
saying,
Right.
no, wait a minute, you're actually you're helping me get this process done,
Right.
and not to
Right.
mention you're giving them all the other perks, I'm assuming, like
Right.
up
Right.
to the highest point.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
there's
Exactly.
there's a lot of value there, even in their donation. So,
Right. Right. So that was kind of where I went with that. My husband brought to my attention that the people that we've donated to over the past year, they were for projects that didn't necessarily have perks, or they had smaller perks, CD or a this or a that or something that was a smaller thing. And so our, say our $50 donation actually went fully towards a donation without. Now, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn. I donated this much, but they will. A lot of these campaigns, you're donating to donate. You're donating to actually help someone with whatever they're doing with whatever process. And so that's where I'm like, okay, I need to meet somewhere in the middle. I need to meet somewhere where I can give people what I think they're going to want. Of course, everything's going to be signed and something that people might want to like keep as a souvenir of this project. So that's where my mind went, and I'm glad it went there because um, I don't know. It's, of course, you make profit. I'm going to make profit no matter what. That's what I'm doing. Art. That's what art is. But that's just kind of where it went. What that extra is going to be going towards making more things and putting, like I said, putting the gallery together and buying things more in bulk if I can, if I have the ability to. So that's just kind of where it went.
I see. I see. Well, so basically you set your perks, you get your video, you write up the copy, right, for what
Mhm.
you're going to be
Right,
what you're looking for donations for, and
right.
then you showed it to family, and then a
Hmm.
few days later you open it up to the public, and hopefully
Right.
friends and family started sharing.
Lots of shares.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's just you had about a month, is that correct?
Yeah, I think I opened it to the public on July 1st, and so my it's been about a month for the actual public. It was that soft opening, like you said, a couple days before then. I think so. I think it was about 35 days or something, 35 days total. I think that if I was able to give anyone a little bit of advice, not that it has, I mean, everyone's situation is different, but um, in my mind, I was like, oh, calendars, calendars, calendars. That's what I need to market myself because that's one of the biggest things that I think people are going to get. But calendars is not what I'm looking for contributions for. Calendars can come as the contributions come. Contributions are for my gallery. So I think that if someone took the time to read, the several paragraphs of what I'm doing and what the money's going towards, they would understand that. But not everyone has a time. I totally understand that. So I think that the main part of my marketing was towards the calendars, when really that's a great part of it, but it's not what the funds are going to be going towards. The funds are mainly going towards art shows and putting the gallery together for those art shows.
Okay. All right. And so you set a goal, I,
Hmm.
and you're fairly close to meeting it. You didn't quite get
Pretty
it,
close, yep.
but with the way it's set up, you still get the contributions,
I
correct?
get the majority of the contributions. If I don't hit the goal, Indiegogo rightfully keeps 9%.
Okay.
And if I do hit the goal, they also rightfully keep 4%. So
Okay.
it's just kind of it's definitely one of those things, put a fire underneath your butt to like get you up to the goal. And so, I went back and forth between what that ultimate goal was going to be. I went back and forth between higher and lower, um, and then just kind of set myself right there at 10 grand. I just added up. This is how much a bulk of calendars is going to be. This is how much these metal prints. This is how much these are. I really tried to total everything out, so I knew. So I knew where everything was going, and so the contributors knew where everything was going as well. So, like I said, I'm quite an open book on it. I see. Ooh, sorry. Ah! They see what everything's going towards, and um, and so it just kind of worked from there.
Okay. Okay. So basically tonight at midnight, you can no longer take donations, right?
Right, right.
So
Not through
everybody
Indiegogo, at least.
we got 3 viewers right now. That's right. And so
Great.
um, if make sure we'll actually we should mention what's it Candy Lane photos, is that right?
Candy Lane with Candy Lane with a K. KANDYLANE.
All right.
Photos.
And that's .com, and then
Yep.
you click the Enchanted Journal, correct? Or Enchanted Photos, something like that.
Yes, 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 yeah, the
Okay.
Enchanted Journal. So they can get to everything through the blog, through Facebook, through Twitter,
Right.
through Instagram. I've hopefully updated most of the main links to go instead of from my blog to my campaign for now.
Okay. All right. And if this is in the future, when people are listening to this or whatever, I'll make
Right.
sure I have all of the show notes and stuff
Awesome.
that people can go and still just see what you're up to, what you're doing, the progress that you've made, and that kind of stuff. Because I know will you be updating your blog with this kind of stuff?
Absolutely. I update pretty quickly. I probably make my portrait and wedding photography clients a little mad because I update my enchanted stuff a little bit quicker than I've updated my everything else just because I'm so anxious. I've tried to learn how to at least wait a couple days, but because I only set up one or two poses, a fairly easy process to pick, okay, this one's my favorite out of these 10 of the exact same pose. So it's a little bit of a quicker process with that. A lot of much longer process with perfecting the picture. But I'm just so anxious, and I usually like my next photo shoot is going to be in August. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Every time my phone buzzes, it's like knocking it off of its thing. But the my next enchanted project is going to be mid to late August. So I pretty much already have that blog written already because I know everything that it's about. So I try to like pre-do things that way that week I'm not like neglecting my family and making them eat macaroni and cheese every day. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, basically, I would love to follow up with you in a few months
for sure.
and kind of just see how everything's going and would you say what is the final or what's the goal here? Are you hoping to open your own gallery basically, or is it
Absolutely.
okay?
That's definitely something that I love. I definitely want to publish a book. I want to publish a coffee table book that just goes over the process. Never before seen pictures, like I said, behind the scene pictures, talking not only about the story that's behind the images, but also the story that went into the images. And so I think instead of just an art book of art, it'll be an art book of stories to go along with it. and hopefully of inspiration. That's my biggest goal, kind of a traveling art show for now, and we'll see where it goes from then.
Very cool. Well, I was definitely inspired when I saw your work, and
Thank
I'm really
you.
glad
Thank you so much.
you I mean, it was just a simple tweet like, "Hey, check out what I'm doing here." And so I had a few minutes and checked it out, and now here we are. And so
Well, I
this is
appreciate the follow. I appreciate you following through with checking that out. I know that, that's not always the case. So I appreciate that. It was a good connection.
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you can tell on Twitter a lot of times if stuff is just um
Spam.
if well, yeah, not even necessarily spam, but just it's an auto response,
Right.
and I
Right.
could tell that what it wasn't just an auto response. So I was like, I want to check this out. And so when there's a real person behind the message on social media, it makes it a lot easier to interact and not just go, okay, I've seen like 14 of these today. So
Right, right. I definitely understand that, and I try as hard as I can. Sometimes especially with the enchanted things, when it gets shared a lot, I can't always respond directly to people. Um, but for the most part, I think I've probably tagged just about as many people as have commented or liked, and I really, really try to be interactive with, followers and fans, and I try to stay updated, and obviously doing all that with actually staying up to date with my family and everything,
yeah.
and not staying with the phone in my face. So,
Right. It's definitely a juggling act. When I get home, I try to typically just throw my phone as far away from me as possible. So that way
yeah,
there's no
I understand that.
yeah, it's family time. I have 4 kids, and
Nice.
they take up the time. So,
Right.
um what is your Twitter handle so people can connect with you if they'd want?
At Candy Lane Photos.
All right. All right. Well, hey, I just want to thank you again for coming on, and I wish you
For
the
having
the
me.
best. You are
Thank you.
very welcome. Yeah, I look forward to following up and maybe having you come back and talk about the progress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. Well, you have a great night.
Thank you very much. You too.
All right.
Talk to you
Bye now.
soon. Bye bye.